Welcome to the Romance Files, a podcast where hopeless romantics gossip about history's most iconic couples to find out what made them want to make sweet, sweet love. I'm Alfie, your hot-to-trot host who's only been divorced once, and today I am once again joined by my beautiful little sister, Embla.
Hello, everybody. I'm Embla, Alfie's little sister, my gorgeous sister. And I have never met anyone from a dating website.
Well, that's very antiquated of you. So what are we talking about today?
Okay, so this is a welcome back. This is going to be part 2 because there's so much to unwrap in these episodes about Antony and Cleopatra. And if you haven't seen it, there is a part 1 of this episode. In part 2, we're going to be talking more about their love story and the tragedies at the end of that. So just a little recap. In part 1, we introduced the characters. We've done Cleopatra, Mark Antony, and Caesar. Caesar is now dead, and Mark Antony and Cleopatra are starting their love story. She has had a kid by Caesar who he hasn't owned as one of his own, because Romans don't do that. They don't mix with people outside of Roman. Egyptian queens, yeah, exactly. At this point, he has just died and given all of his money to his adopted son, Octavian, which brings us to part 2.
So, I'm calling this part Summer Nights in Tarsus. And Antony, by his own accounts, said it all started in Tarsus. So we've got Mark Antony and Octavian beefing. Mark Antony summons Cleopatra, Queen Cleopatra, to Tarsus, which is in modern-day Turkey. And he wants her to explain her support for Caesar's assassins, who she had apparently sent aid to. I guess she's kind of wondering, who does she hitch her wagon to now, now that Caesar's gone? And there's kind of a civil war happening in Rome between all the Caesar's assassins and his kind of
Loyals.
His loyals. So she's like trying her best to navigate this whole situation. And Antony summons the queen. And the queen, I'm sorry, do you summon a queen? I don't think so. She is not best pleased with this. She makes him wait. And when she turns up like killing it. She turns up in a lavish display. And there is a description of this by Shakespeare, which I think is quite fun to read out. Do you want to do the honours?
Well, I mean, obviously it is an absolutely legendary display. This is obviously in Shakespearean words, so forgive me because I'm not the English lit student here, so it might not sound great, but we'll go for it anyway. The barge she sat in, like a burnished throne, burned on the water. The poop was beaten gold. Purple the sails, and so perfumed that the winds were lovesick with them. The oars were silver, which to the tune of lutes kept stroke, and made the water which they beat to follow faster, as amorous of their strokes for her own person. It beggared all the description she did lie in her pavilion, cloth of gold tissue, over picturing that Venus where we see the fancy outwork nature. On each side her stood pretty dimpled boys, like smiling cupids, with diverse coloured fans, whose wind did seem to glow the delicate cheeks which they did cool, and what they undid did.
Wow.
That's a very complicated way of saying she basically arrived in a massive, it was like a float, wasn't it?
A golden boat with silver oars.
Yeah.
She's dressed up to the nines. Apparently she had incense just billowing from, like, I was so surprised that the ship didn't catch fire.
But it reminds me of like a float at Gay Pride. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Cleopatra is the original drag queen.
That would be a really cool float at Pride, actually.
Oh my God, I bet it's been done.
Yeah.
And she sends word to Antony that Venus was arrived to revel with Bacchus for the good of Asia. She is full on feeling herself and just being like, you wanted me?
She's just gone back after this whole Caesar thing, had a massive glow up and been like, all right, actually, this is the direction I'm going to go in now. And rocks
Yeah.
up to, where are they at this point? Are they in Rome?
It's like Turkey, somewhere in Turkey. It's called
Turkey.
Tarsus.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. And she's just like, right, you wanted me, here I am. Diva style.
Diva. And you know, like she's probably met him before, right? When she was back in Rome and meeting Caesar. So she knows what he's like. You know, she knows that he likes debauchery, parties, crude jokes, and opulence, darling. She models herself, like we were saying in the last episode, that she did what Caesar wanted her to do. She sort of molded herself to be like these men wanted her to be. I can relate, you know, like every boyfriend brings out a different side of you.
That's true.
So I can relate to that. Can you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, you know, you do kind of, most people, maybe not in my older age, I'm like, no, I am me.
Can't bothered anymore.
Yeah, no, I can't bothered anymore. But when you're younger, you're definitely like, oh, you know, he wants me to be like this, so I'll be more like that. I think it's quite natural. But in this case, it was more strategic overruling an empire, do you know? So she had to really think about this and make him basically like fall at her feet.
Yeah, she knows what he likes. He loves, you know, this sort of fantasy that he is like descended from gods, and she is a goddess. Like she actually is a goddess.
She actually is, yeah.
So I was just going to ask you, what is your go-to outfit if you did go on a date, which we know you haven't been on a first date? What would be your sort of dress to impress outfit?
Well, I think it really depends on the setting. Do you know what I mean? Am I going to crazy golf? Am I going out? Am I going to like some on my bucket list? Actually, is another thing that I haven't done before is go somewhere with wearing a ball gown.
Ooh.
Like I'd love to wear a ball gown. You know, just like I don't know, like think Bridgerton type vibes.
Nice.
So yeah, it depends really. I'm such a casual person. I just wear all black and trainers. That's my go-to.
But in your raving days, what was your go-to outfit when you were like going out?
That was like out. That was back in the drum and bass times. That would be obviously like without question of a doubt. It was a rah-rah skirt and leg warmers.
Nice.
And little Kappa trainers, and yeah, those were the days.
Did I ever tell you that I went to meet my ex-boyfriend after I'd broken up with someone who had a pretty tragic heartbreak, and I was wanting to look really sexy. I didn't realise that we were going to a rave, so I'd worn heels and like a short skirt. And then we went to this rave and everyone was wearing trainers, and I was in these heels trying to like jump up and down, and like what the raving move is kind of like lifting your legs up, like sort of marching.
Yeah. A raving move. So I'm just picturing it. Yeah, no, I mean, you have to have a heads up of where you're going, obviously, but heels and a rave, like I've never tried it, so I couldn't really comment, to be honest with you.
It was, I felt like I'd achieved something. I still feel like it's one of my biggest achievements.
It's pretty impressive.
So he invites her to dinner and she's like, no, I'm inviting you to dinner, actually. And she does this amazing party. She has 12 banquet rooms, 36 sofas, rich textiles draping the walls, embroidered in golden threads and gem-encrusted golden vessels. It sounds a little bit like The Only Way is Essex, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
I went to a toilet once in Southend-on-Sea. I was at a pub, and on the sign outside it said exotic dancers, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Like they splashed out for the whole like week, written out in full instead of just putting every day or something.
Every day, yeah.
And then I went to the toilet upstairs and it was this big room with 2 or 3 toilets in it. There was no cubicles. And I was like, this is amazing. This is an amazing night out where you can just literally go to the toilet and like vomit and cry in front of your friends and have just like a party in the toilets.
Debaucherous parties.
I'd never leave.
just be chundering in the toilet. You'd never leave the toilet or the party.
No. I mean, like the pub is. I can't imagine. I went during the day. There was no one there, but if it was during the night, can you imagine? The toilet would be closed. You wouldn't be able to get in for hours. Like, there'd just be a party in the
just
toilet.
be like parties of girls taking it in turns. That sounds great. We should go there one day.
Yeah. So, and she's probably dressed to the nines. You know, I imagine she had loads of dangling earrings and loads of bracelets and was looking very glamorous.
Probably like people dressed as Cupid fanning her and stuff.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah.
And she basically tells him, like, take anything you want. And in that film, the Elizabeth Taylor film, she says to him, like, anything, and like looks him right in the eye. And
so sexy.
I mean, take me. Reported all those like paparazzi from the time that he lost his head to her like a young man. He's in his 40s, and they're like, he's ridiculous, you know. He's a ridiculous man for being so taken with this Eastern
He just falls
queen.
head over heels in love, and they're like, who is this man who's meant to be leading the Roman Empire?
Yeah,
being
exactly.
being so whipped, basically.
Yeah, and that's probably Octavian, sly little Octavian, because they're in a sort of trio, him, Octavian, Mark Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus at the time, and they're meant to be ruling for a little while they sort out the Republic.
So Octavian's being snaky and basically
snaky.
like feeding in to the gossip mags.
Yeah. He's like calling in, you know, telling them what to say. But really, it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. You know, Antony needed money, like they were really desperate for money. Egypt has the money, and Cleopatra needed Rome, and she needed his protection, and she really, really, really wanted recognition of Caesarion as Caesar's son. And, you know, they had some things in common. They hated Octavian, you know, that smarmy little bastard.
Took all of Caesar's money.
Yeah, and they are into the cult of Dionysus, who was like the sort of Bacchus, the wine god. And later on, I think Mark Antony sort of says that he is Dionysus, and I think Cleopatra's dad was into this cult as well. So she knew how to sort of get him. You know, the Roman reporters, they're pretty nasty to her. She's always portrayed as this scheming woman, and he's a strategist. You know, she's promiscuous, and he just loves to fuck.
He's just a geezer.
I
mean, isn't that the same as just modern day? Like, a man can sleep with as many women as he wants, whereas a woman does it and she's a hoe.
Exactly. And there's no evidence.
Yeah,
and there's no evidence that she even slept with anyone apart from Mark Antony and Caesar. So I'd say there is a lot of evidence that Mark Antony was spreading his seed all over. Oh, that's gross, spreading the seed.
Spreading his seed.
No,
I mean, obviously, like you've pointed out in the previous episode, all of this is written, or most of this is recalled from Roman literature. So it's Roman men that are writing this about her and him. So it's like he's a G and she's a hoe. Yeah.
It's like that, you know, on TikTok where they ask people, how many people have you slept with? And it's like, oh, really? Have we not moved on from this? Like, seriously. But anyway, so they're parting away over there in Turkey. And then Mark Antony follows her to Alexandria because she has promised him all this money, but she ain't giving it to him. She's been a clever queen. She's making him come to her. And part of their deal is that Antony kills Arsinoe, who is still plotting. Arsinoe, her little sister, is still plotting to take over her throne. So he kills her and murders like everyone that's involved in this plot. And I mean, I know it's not what we want in modern times, but it does sound kind of romantic, you know.
That's something that he did for Cleopatra that Caesar didn't, right?
Exactly.
Caesar saved her. So Mark Antony is obviously declaring his love in murder, which is obviously something that clearly turns her on.
Yeah, I think so. And so he goes to Egypt, and she lavishes him with parties. The kitchen is always ready with meals for him. Everything has to be perfect. And they form a society called the Inimitable Livers. I don't know how to say that. Inimitable Livers. I think it just means people who drink a lot.
Such a strange name. Like, Inimitable Livers.
I can't remember what inimitable feedback, please, from listeners.
Feedback from anyone that knows what inimitable means. And I mean, I'm just guessing it means the people that are killing your livers but enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, like most of us do in our 20s. Right. I don't know how Antony was still going because he's in his 40s and I am approaching 40 and I can't even hold one beer down.
Those 3-day hangovers are real.
Yeah. So they have a lot of fun. He loves to disguise himself as a peasant and roam the streets at night with Cleopatra. And he, at one point when they go out fishing, he actually gets a servant to attach a fish to the hook.
That's so jokey.
And she's like, really? Shouldn't you be thinking about more important things like, you know, I don't know, taking over Rome?
Like running the Roman Empire and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that job.
That's a little bit pathetic, you know?
But part of this whole disguising themselves and roaming the streets at night is also quite jokes because, like, thinking about how powerful they are at that time, she's like the Queen of Egypt and he's like one of the rulers of Rome, the Roman Empire, and they're just like having bants going out. It reminds me a little bit of like Aladdin and Jasmine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just sort of like pretending to be common people. And apparently Alexandrians think that he's quite funnier, or they think he's at least like funnier than Caesar. Apparently, you know, it sounds like Caesar was a bit dry. And Cleopatra sort of styles herself as a party girl. Anyway, lo and behold, she gets pregnant. And he leaves. I don't know what the fuck.
Didn't he leave because he had to get back to war? Was there some kind of like unsettled thing going on in the empire at that point? Or did he just leave and be asked with her pregnancy hormones?
Yeah. Meanwhile, in Rome, his wife, Fulvia, because he still has a wife, is with his brother, are having a bit of a Barney with Octavian. So he leaves Alexandria to deal with that situation, and Fulvia dies, which is kind of good for him because he just blames everything on Fulvia. They make peace with Octavian, and he actually gets married to Octavian's sister, Octavia. And, you know, Octavian doesn't seem like a nice guy. At this point, he actually abandons his wife the day she gives birth to get married to Livia, who's also 6 months pregnant with her previous husband's child. And that makes him a bit more noble because his lineage wasn't noble.
So it's all about marrying into society, basically.
Yeah. So
this is so Jerry Springer or like Jeremy Kyle. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so difficult to follow who's married to who, and like people are just having babies all over the place. People got multiple wives. Yeah, they disappear. They're ghosting them during their pregnancies. They're like, oh no, all right, well I've done my job there. Move on to the next one. Go get married and have more kids with someone else.
Yeah,
it's just
you want to see them in the room like beating each other up with chairs, don't you?
Yeah. Like there's no loyalty here. Like why are you not? Do you know what I mean? Like spending the pregnancy with the woman. But clearly that wasn't the thing.
No, I think most men don't want to spend pregnancies with women. I think most men would quite happily, like, fuck off.
Take a, like, little 9-month hiatus, go fishing, take over another empire.
Go fishing where they just get their servants to hook fish to their... And then celebrate, put the picture on Tinder. I caught this big fish. So there's a lot of red flags flying around. So Antony and Octavian, they're getting on, but not really. Like, so he sort of like gets some distance, goes to Athens with Octavia, and she's really good, Octavia. I think she is like that kind of modern trad wife. Everybody is like, Octavia's so good, Cleopatra's so evil.
Yeah, you know, Octavia was also written really nicely about, like, because she was Roman, right? All of the like gossip mags at the time were like, she's amazing, you know.
Yeah, don't understand why Antony wants Cleopatra. Like, Octavia's obviously more beautiful, she's better than her. So they're kind of like pitted against each other from the beginning, which is quite gross. We don't really know anything that's going on with Cleopatra this time because, you know, she's just in Alexandria and the Romans aren't writing about her. But so Octavia helps Octavian and Antony kind of like make a pact. All right, we're not going to have a war for a few years. And so they create a renewal of this pact that they had. And so once he's done with her, Antony sends Octavia home, and he goes east, and he wants to crush the Parthians. Parthians are sort of like this unbeatable army that Caesar wanted to crush as well. And they're obsessed.
Where are they from, the Parthians?
In memory, it's something somewhere around Iran, but I can't remember. Anyway, I'm not a historian, but, you know, I read a book. And so Antony wants to prove himself. He's like, Octavian's getting quite big for his boots. Let me show that I am this military genius and that I can defeat the undefeatable Parthians. And when he's doing this, 3.5 years later, 3.5 years after he's left Cleopatra, he sends for her.
Like, he comes.
Seriously, he needs money. Taylor's old as time.
3.5 years later, run out of funds, goes back to were they married? They weren't married, were they?
I think there was like some rumours that they got married, but I don't think or they couldn't be married because she wasn't Roman.
Wouldn't have been recognised by the state. Yeah. So they were basically married, but not legally, pretty much. It's a bit shocking, isn't it? Obviously, like you said, we don't know what Cleopatra's been up to at that point.
Yeah, maybe she's having a great time without him.
Yeah, their kids are 3 years older now. Like, hi, welcome back. Here's your kid. No, sorry, I just came back for a bit of money.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
All right, thanks. But, I mean, he tries to make her happy. He has coins minted of her with joint portraits of Antony and Cleopatra, which really pisses Octavian off because, you know, that's not cool. It kind of looks like they're ruling together. And he meets his children, who are twins, called Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, and he acknowledges them. He acknowledges Caesarion, and he sort of guarantees her territory of Cyprus. And at this point, Cleopatra's basically done so well. Like, she's expanded the Ptolemaic Empire, and she rules nearly all of the Eastern Mediterranean coast. She's killing it.
Mm.
What would be the best gift that you've ever received from a boyfriend?
Oh gosh, that is a really good question.
I know my worst gift.
Go on.
I think one Christmas somebody gave me a pencil holder, not even one that was like pretty or anything. It was just one of those metal ones that you get in the pound shop.
Pencil holder?
And that was after 4 years.
Was the pencil included?
No.
That's so random.
So Antony's totally delusionally confident about taking Parthia, but it was a disaster, obviously, and this is where things start kind of going downhill for Antony. Octavian is really fucking with him at this point. He asks for 20,000 troops to be sent to Parthia, and Octavian sends Octavia with 2,000 troops, and she's on the way with troops and supplies and sends a messenger to Antony, and Cleopatra is not happy. She hasn't seen him for 3.5 years, and now his wife's turning up.
Him.
He's taken her money, and he's like met their kids, and she starts to. Well, apparently, she sort of recognises Octavia as a serious rival, and starts to display of sickness. So apparently, she stops eating. I mean, have you ever been in that situation where there's a rival in your midst, and you like try and like have to stave someone off?
No, not that I can think of, but like I'm also not the kind of person that gets lovesick and stops eating. If I get really sad or emotional about something, I eat more.
Yeah.
And like I've always, one of my friends, she literally just stops eating. She gets so skinny anytime like a big stress happens in her life. And I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, why am I the opposite?
Yeah.
So annoying. But yeah, I mean, no, not that I can think of rivalry wise, especially not on this level. I mean,
I can think of at school when, because I went to a girls' school, and there was a school at the bottom of the road, which was a comprehensive, and it was mixed. And then there was a boys' school next to them. And so, and we were up on a hill, and they used to call us the whores on the hill. And they would come up at lunchtime or after school, and there'd be massive fights over people's boyfriends.
Like,
they'd just be scratching each other's eyes out. Sometimes I'd be in the middle of it trying to stop them, but it's scary. Girls are scary.
That's crazy. Let's take a moment for the nickname, the whores on the hill. Like, how teenage is that? That is so like secondary school teenage shit.
It's amazing. So Antony responds to this and he sends Octavia back, and she is obviously publicly humiliated, but she doesn't leave him. I feel really sorry for Octavia at this point. She's so bound by duty and she doesn't want to start a war, and she's thinking of the big picture. This woman
also
is
just been made so well aware of her place. Like, no, sorry, I'm with Cleopatra. Like, go back home. I'm with her now.
That's so sad.
Wow.
I feel sorry for all the women in this story, but
yeah,
like, I mean, Cleopatra gets what she wants. That is one thing we know about her. She does not take no for an answer. So Antony goes to Alexandria for the winter with Cleopatra, and she like stops him from going to Parthia. She makes herself thin and frail and makes him worry about her. Like, she's really being quite manipulative at this point. But, you know,
I mean, to be fair to her, he did leave for 3.5 years before that. So how's she going to know when he's going to come back? If he goes, might see you in 5 years, might not.
But also at this point, she's just like, what the fuck is... this is just an ego trip, the whole Parthia thing. This is just undoing everything. You need to concentrate, Antony. Come on. And so Antony's like, all right, I won't go to Parthia. I'll try and get Armenia on side. And he goes and proposes to the Armenian king that he'll offer his son to marry Antony's daughter. And he says, no, absolutely not. You are annoying. And I don't know why you've shaved your legs. Why are your legs so shiny? Or something like that. And so Mark Antony's
those
like,
lines, I'm sure.
Yeah. Your legs are blinding me. And so he fails in his mission and is like, fuck you, takes them captive and brings them back like a cat with a mouse to Alexandria, and they have a big costume party. It's called the Donations of Alexandria. You know, Cleopatra knows that Antony loves a party.
They love a party.
Antony knows that Cleopatra loves a bit of murder. They don't murder him, actually. They just hold him captive. But they sit on gold thrones. Cleopatra dressed as Isis with cobras on her head, and Antony dressed as Dionysus with a gold gown holding a fennel stalk. Like, it is so drag, this whole thing.
It's very drag, isn't it? But this is also kind of the way in which she was depicted, like, moving forward, the whole thing.
Right.
This party, right? The gold thrones and the Isis and the cobra on the head and stuff like that. It's very much how she was then depicted in history.
Exactly. I mean, she's already into it. Like, and now Mark Antony is joining suit. And they dress their little kids up. Like, Alexander Helios is dressed up as a Persian monarch with like a turban on his head and a peacock feather. A little bit racist, or quite a lot racist, but because he's going to be the king of Persia. And little Ptolemy is dressed as Alexander the Great with a big crown on his head and a purple cloak. Can you imagine? This just sounds like Halloween. It's actually amazing. And
I love how into it they are, the costume parties. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And they, you know, the party just continues. They just keep having absolutely wild parties. My favourite bit is one party, one of Antony's closest advisors appears at a dinner naked and painted blue, and he does like a sea nymph impression, and he wriggles across the floor on his knees and with a fishtail and a crown of wings.
Were these people on drugs? Just asking for a friend.
And which drugs?
And which drugs they on? Oh, they might have been drinking like the snake, whatever. I don't know.
Well, Cleopatra is quite into her little poisons, so I wouldn't be surprised if she was also making some sweet drugs.
Maybe they just had really good banter, because otherwise they were bored. You know, they didn't have any telly, radio, or any like modern day communication. So these parties were debaucherous and a little bit crazy.
A little bit crazy.
Is this one of those ones where they're having their sex parties, or was that just every party?
You know what? I like to imagine that it was every party. Do you remember we worked with this guy at Tommy's Burger Joint, where he...
I do. I remember exactly who you're talking about, yeah. And he ended up leaving the restaurant and starting up his own sex party company.
Yeah.
Legend.
a legend. I still have him on Facebook. Like, he was such a nice guy.
Such a nice guy.
And it was just kind of like...
Really exclusive as well, those parties. Like, super exclusive, invite only.
Yeah.
Like...
I heard some celebrities turned up, some politicians, and like his posts on Facebook are just like naked, like half naked girls, like with their ass like facing the camera. Brilliant. And him just standing in front of them. And it's really weird when you know someone like that that's so nice, and you're just like, well, he's a nice guy. The
torturous parties continue to this modern day.
Antony, Cleopatra having the time of their life, wild, but clock is ticking. This pact that Antony made with Octavian, there's a deadline. And so Octavian, back in Rome, he is pissed off about these donations. And he says that Cleopatra was a demented, power-drunk dissolute, and that Antony is a Dionysiac revel led by an Eastern harlot. So
he really doesn't like her, does he?
No, he's not into it. Well, I think he really hates Mark Antony anyway, so he's just using Cleopatra as this kind of like...
he's wanting to be the sole ruler of the Roman Empire, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think that might be it. Like, and also, he's not too keen on Caesarion, because he is actually Caesar's son. He's not really happy about that. I reckon he's wanting an excuse to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. He has a like escalating conflict with Octavian, and they send each other letters, and I find this really funny because things get really personal. Octavian and Antony are just like teenage boys. Antony calls him a weakling. Octavian says he's old. Antony said that he only got his position because he fucked his uncle, and Octavian's like, well, oh my God, Cleopatra didn't fuck my uncle, so there. And Antony's like, you left your pregnant wife for a pregnant woman to raise your status. And Octavian says, you've been seduced by a foreigner who you're cheating on my perfect sister with.
This is so jokes. It's proper like imagine them actually writing these letters. It's proper like your mum.
Yeah, it's totally your mum. And the worst thing is Antony stoops so low. He's like, your ancestors are rope makers and bakers, and you have an African grandfather. Like, Antony, that is out of order. I'm sorry, but you're living in Africa, and you are literally like having it off with an African queen.
Yeah, exactly. His point is about his ancestors basically not coming from... It was all about status, marrying up, wasn't it? They kept marrying more women to get like a better status, basically.
Yeah. And he's like, you don't belong. Octavian's comes back to him saying, you think you're Hercules, but you're just a drunk. And you're a massive hypocrite because you're fucking an African woman. But, at the time, apparently there's a private letter to Octavian asking why it mattered so much that he was screwing the queen. And he says Octavian's a hypocrite. And I mean, it's this whole weird public display of them hating each other. And then Antony being like, I'm just fucking her. Calm yourself down. What's wrong with you? You're fucking people.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bit nasty towards Cleopatra, who, we think he loves, but maybe that's what boys do. They just like go behind your back.
I think it's just a proper like rivalry thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not really that deep. Like, they both want to rule. Antony's probably not as good a ruler, and also doesn't have Rome in the forefront of his mind when it's coming to his, life. He's in his 40s. He wants to chill out a little bit. Octavian's a bit like, I want to take over the empire. You're getting in my way. Just fuck off. Either be with Rome or just go.
You're past it. You're a drunk.
Yeah. But it is like the way it plays out is like a modern day, like social media beef, like Twitter beef.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just, it's so much energy. Like, I
really can be asked. Like, can you imagine?
I barely had the energy
letter
to write
as well. Imagine how long it takes to deliver these letters. You're waiting like H dropped a diss track on Central C. Yeah. Central C called him out in one of his tracks about like the Brits and that, and H just straight away did like, there's this thing like, you got 24 hours to respond, and like everyone's like, oh, H absolutely killed it, rah, rah. That's 24 hours. Imagine these letters, you're waiting like months just to get like your mum. Then you're writing one back, and then you're just getting pissed and having parties waiting for the next letter.
Right.
Quite legendary, really.
Probably writing while pissed as well. Like,
Probably, yeah.
they're out to get each other. There's a battle that's about to occur in Actium. I can't remember where that is, but somewhere near Greece. And Cleopatra at this point, she's like, oh, well, I guess I better get involved because my son, Caesarion, is not going to survive if Octavian takes over. And she goes with Antony to the island of Samos, which is just off Turkey. And they wait for a big fleet of ships to come and join them. And they've got all these people from parts of the Eastern Empire. So they're Cleopatra's people. She speaks 9 languages. She can talk to these people and Antony can't. So I guess that would have been a pretty good point for her to make, because I don't think the Romans really want her along. They didn't really like her, thought she was just like a bossy
But she
woman.
was an asset to them at that point. She's basically a translator.
She's the translator and she's the reason they're all there. She's got all the money. She's got all the ships. So a little bit of gratitude, please.
Yeah.
I can understand why she might get a bit annoyed. So while they're waiting, guess what? They have another party. And reports reach Rome and these people are ridiculous. They're just, not taking anything seriously. And they go back to Athens on this journey, and apparently Cleopatra gets jealous of Octavia again because there's loads of statues from the last time that Octavia and Antony were there. And she's just like, not having this, not having pictures of...
Where's my statue?
Yeah, where is my statue?
Yeah.
So Antony starts getting a little bit over the top and he starts giving her gifts. Apparently he leapt to attention whenever she walked by, and rose during banquets to massage her feet.
That's so dope.
Hated this shit. They hated public displays of affection. To be fair, I think I'd get a bit annoyed because it's a bit cringe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, for starters, I've never had a banquet, but for someone to massage my feet while I'm having a banquet, I don't think I'd be complaining, to be quite honest.
Do you know what I really like? And I swear to you, this is so nice. When somebody just holds my foot, I'll be sitting on the sofa and I'll be like, can you just hold my foot? And most people have a thing against feet. Like, they just really hate. And I'm not even like, it's not even my bare foot. It's like wearing a sock,
My mind just goes to, right, feet finders or OnlyFans. Let's sell someone holding your foot on feet finders. Brilliant.
I mean,
bit of extra income. Don't mind if I do.
I don't mind if I do. It's really nice that it's like a little warm hug for your foot. But nobody wants to do it, so I just hold my own foot now.
Well, that's because there's no Mark Antony's around anymore, clearly.
So at this point, also, Antony divorces Octavia, which must have made Cleopatra happy. She's
the man. She's got what she wants.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be second place, but
I'm sure that probably pissed Octavian off even more, right?
Yeah,
his perfect
definitely.
Sister.
And definitely, like, probably fed into his, campaign of hate for Antony in Rome. And I do feel sorry for Octavia. I mean, I know that she's set against Cleopatra and this good girl, bad girl kind of dichotomy, but she is so nice. Like, she takes care of Fulvia's second son. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't want to start a war. She's like, it's all right, boys. I'll just do me. And
but she's basically adopted his kids. So she's like the stay-at-home mum with like the stepmom that treats his kids as her own and all this kind of jazz.
Yeah, she sounds quite nice, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know. Would you adopt your ex's children?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It all depends on circumstances, doesn't it? If you're in the Roman times and the ex-wife has been killed, it'd be pretty deep if that kid is then the child of someone that's leading the Roman Empire and they just become like a peasant orphan.
Yeah. But
So
I mean, they didn't mind killing people.
Would.
Yeah. I said they didn't mind killing people back in then.
No, it's just a normal Friday night, wasn't it?
So things start to fall apart between Cleopatra and the Romans that are with them on this expedition, this journey towards war. And they criticize her. They say that she's a distraction, that she is a liability, and a military camp is no place for a woman. And Cleopatra, she gets a bit grumpy, and Antony's friend Geminius comes and tells her that it's better that she goes back to Egypt. Her response is, "Thanks for telling me. Saves me torturing you." So he obviously flees as fast as his little sandaled feet can take him back to Rome and joins Octavian, and that becomes kind of a pattern. The Romans keep fleeing to Octavian, so he's left without mates, really.
They're not
Antony.
enjoying being led by a woman, are they? Let's be honest, especially because they're all Romans, and that was the thing back then, was that women would just like stay at home, do your bit.
Yeah, baby makers.
She's like this Egyptian goddess that's like, no man will rule me.
Yeah, exactly. One of the guys that deserts, the dancing fish guy, he deserts Antony.
The dancing fish guy, I love that.
Yeah. The blue man, the original blue man. And he tells Octavian that Mark Antony's will has something in it that he wants to see. And Octavian does like the unthinkable and opens Antony's will before he's dead and tells everyone in Rome that Antony wants to be buried next to Cleopatra in Alexandria, like the most un-Roman thing that you can think of. And, he creates this narrative that Antony's just a slave to his love for Cleopatra.
I mean, at this point, loads of people were deserting Mark Antony anyway, so it was like, might as well stick the knife in the wound and let everyone know that he's, a deserter of our kind.
Instead of declaring Rome in war with Mark Antony, he declares Rome at war with Cleopatra, and he does this ridiculous ceremony. He basically makes up a tradition that's never been done before, and he declares war on Cleopatra by launching a spear drenched in pig's blood towards the east. And everyone's like, hey, like, make Rome great again.
Oh, the maggers of their times.
It doesn't go well, this Battle of Actium. I'll leave the, sort of Roman historians to write about that. But essentially, Cleopatra sees what's happening. Antony's losing the battle. She turns her ships back to Egypt. Mark Antony, by all accounts, is pretty pissed off, doesn't talk to her for 3 days. He follows her, and apparently it is the silent treatment. The favourite of men.
I mean, he's pretty annoyed at this point because things are looking pretty down for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's losing the battle of hearts and minds, as well as the battle on sea. And so they flee back to Egypt, and it's only a matter of time before Octavian comes for them. Cleopatra, being a woman, she thinks of everything, thinking for everyone. And at this point, she goes on a killing spree in Alexandria of anyone who criticizes her. She gets anyone's money that she can. She kills that Armenian king, sends his head to Medea to convince that king to assist her. She even tries to transport her ships across land, but the locals...
So she's panicking at this point and trying to take over as much territory as she can, right?
Right, and she wants to launch her ships from a different place, so she wants the locals to, transport them over land, but they're really pissed off because she's done some other thing with Herod. Anyway, they set fire to her ships. So, yeah, it's not looking good. Yeah. So she's like, what am I going to do? Going to, flee to India or Spain or assassinate Octavian. She starts testing out poisons on prisoners, apparently. And eventually she just starts building her own mausoleum, her own tomb, where she puts all her treasure. And meanwhile, Antony is depressed. He's roaming around North Africa with a couple of friends. His legions have deserted him. And at some point, I think he tries to kill himself, and he was sent back to Alexandria by his mates. And he doesn't stop being depressed. He builds a hut near the lighthouse by the harbour and declares himself an exile for about 3 days.
Really sad. I was like, I think I've lost.
So guess how Cleopatra lures him back into the palace.
Hey, honey, it's party time.
So she throws a big winter party, a coming-of-age party for their sons. So Mark Antony's second son, I think, or first son from previous relationship is there. And this is kind of like sticking it to Octavian, who at this point has no sons. But at the same time, they're sending him private letters begging him. Cleopatra tries to convince him to let her children have the kingdom of Egypt. She sends him gifts, which he keeps. But Octavian refuses to answer Mark Antony's letters. They
know, don't they? At this point, they're panicking. She's tried to take over other empires. Her own people are burning down her ships. Mark Antony has declared himself as an exile. So they've gone from being this kind of really well-known, infamous couple that everyone adored to being like, right, these are actually like people have just kind of secluded themselves away. They've had enough.
Yeah. And so they're both begging Octavian. Octavian doesn't answer any letters to Mark Antony, gives them silent treatment. But he does say to Cleopatra, like, if you kill Mark Antony, then I'll be nice to you.
I'll spare you.
Yeah, so... And he even sends, like, a messenger to try and convince Cleopatra that he fancied her, like, that Octavian fancied her. I don't know, like, what this is meant to achieve. I don't know if that's, like, a double bluff or something. But apparently Antony is in such a bad state at this point, like, that he explodes with jealousy and has him whipped and sent back to Octavian. Like, yeah. And, Antony's not in a good mood. So Cleopatra throws him another party, a big birthday party. And they changed their society's name from the Inimitable Livers to the Companions to the Death. So they know what's up. They know that they're going to die. Octavian eventually, after he's settled some things in Rome, comes to Egypt, and Antony, he has a little bit of fight left in him. He perks up, wins a little battle against Octavian's really tired troops, and he comes back to the palace and gives Cleopatra, like one of those massive romantic snogs in front of everyone. He's really happy with himself. I think it was quite a cute little picture. And Cleopatra, however, knows where it's heading, and she thinks that maybe she can get into Octavian's good books, and she kind of diverts what's left of Antony's soldiers and stops them from fighting Octavian, which Antony, I can imagine, would have been really unhappy.
Of course, I mean, he's made a pact with her, companions to the death.
Yeah.
He's made a huge pact with her, like, right, it's me and you, babe, till the end.
Yeah, ride or die.
Only to find out that she's having private conversations with Octavian on the side to try and save her own bacon.
Yeah, exactly. And so Cleopatra, seeing like that there's no other options, she goes into her mausoleum and sends Antony a report that she's dead. And I think, I don't know, but obviously nobody knows, but I think that she might have been trying to do what Octavian asked her to do without telling Antony. So she thinks, well, if I tell him I'm dead, then he'll, kill himself. And he tries to. He asks his servant, who's called Eros, to help him, but his servant ends up killing himself. I don't know.
This is the one where he asks his servant to, like, is it like test out stabbing yourself, and then he ends up stabbing himself. So it's like, right, okay, sweet. Well, that's the way to do it.
I don't know how that happens. Like, you stab me. Maybe they didn't speak the same language or something.
Yeah. Or
he's like, sword, stab.
Yeah.
The servant's like, okay then.
Okay, I'll do whatever you want. Please don't kill me. I'm going to kill myself instead.
Yeah. And then Antony has to try and kill himself with a sword, but he misses his heart and he's heard screaming. And Cleopatra comes, she's blocked the downstairs door, so she's on a balcony and she hears Antony screaming and she asks him to be brought up to her. And so, well, this is kind of a legend, I don't know, but in the movie they put him on like a plank of wood and take him up to her, and he's bleeding to death and she's crying and it's all really sad. But can you imagine? He thinks that she's dead, and then she's just like, no, I'm alive.
It's like a double bluff.
Sorry, go goodbye.
Maybe she's sending him these letters in the hope that someone is intercepting the letters, and then Octavian can find out that they're both dead, but it all goes horribly wrong.
Yeah. It's like definitely Romeo and Juliet, isn't it?
They probably definitely had spies in their camp. You know, loads of people had deflected to go back to Octavian, but in that time, you could probably get people coming back that you wouldn't have known were actually working for it. Do you know what I mean? So
she's playing opposites, and he doesn't get it.
It's like reading people's prison letters. Do you know what I mean? Reading the letters and saying to Octavian, like, right, they're both dead now, in the hope that he'll leave them alone.
Oh my God, that's such a good conspiracy theory.
New conspiracy theory unlocked.
Yeah, well done.
It's probably same thing, but you know.
Right, so Antony's dead. Octavian hears this and he has a little cry for an audience of his troops. But then he starts reading out letters that Antony sent him. And he's like, isn't Antony rude? Aren't I brilliant and diplomatic? And isn't Antony just so rude? I can imagine that's quite British, isn't it? It's like, he never says please. Octavian sends a former ally of Antony to coax Cleopatra out, along with the treasure, which is what he's interested in. And she's like, no, don't trust you. So then he sends a love poet who I assume, makes some nice poetry for her. And she's like, not really into that. I prefer my love hard and fast, Roman style. And so eventually they just get a ladder and climb up into
and then they're like, oh, why didn't I think of this before?
Yeah.
That's a bit easier.
They get Cleopatra under house arrest and she's allowed to bury Antony, but she's begging at this point. She's like, please let me kill myself. I don't want to be paraded through the streets of Rome. I don't want to be this shameful victim of the Roman Empire. Let me die as a queen.
Let me die as a legend. The legend that I am. Let me own it. Yeah. Fair.
Secure my status. And she tries when she buries Antony. In those days, the funeral rites and tradition was like women would scream and, hit things and hit themselves. And she claws her chest so much that she creates like a massive wound, which gets infected and she's, got a fever. And Octavian's like, nice try, bitch, but I'm going to put some leeches on you. Make you all better.
Dead. Let's just finish this, shall we?
And so then she changes tactics. She's so good. She's so amazing at just, okay, this doesn't work. I'm going to do this. She uses everything that she can. She reads out her love letters from Caesar and to try and impress Octavian. Caesar loved me. Why can't you love me? And he just doesn't, I don't think he has any empathy. I think he sounds like fucking Elon Musk to me. He's just not interested. I just want to take over the world. Do your stupid little woman thing. But she gets there. Last chance saloon, just before he takes her away. She has been experimenting with these poisons and she takes one and she dies like the legend that she is. Beautiful, dressed up, famously lying on a golden couch with lion paws for legs. And I mean, is that
she does it in style?
Yeah. Is it on made.com? Because I want that couch. Not the actual lion paws, obviously. Octavian, he's so gross. Like, he gets some guy, which is apparently called a silly, P-S-Y-L-L-I. I don't know how you pronounce that. A silly. A snake charmer or whatever.
It is a bit silly, to be fair. So it's probably said right, yeah.
And he gets her to come and suck at her wound to try and get the snake poison out. And they think that Octavian kind of made this snake myth. It was most likely that she killed herself with poison, and Octavian parades a model of her through the streets of Rome with a big snake. And, we all know what a snake means.
So this is the beginning of Octavian's conspiracy theory amongst the Romans to say, look, they were just a bunch of snakes, really.
Yeah.
Got rid of them, you know.
Her dick is too big. Another conspiracy theory is that Octavian actually didn't want her to be paraded around the street, so he kind of let her poison herself because, Arsinoe had her little sister who sees paraded through the streets and got a lot of sympathy.
The time where these were loved people in the streets of Rome, so there probably are still, at this point, some people that are their fans.
It's like Beyonce dying or something. It's like
I mean,
Elon
what
Musk
happened? Like
killing
Beyonce dying.
Beyonce.
Oh my God. God, that would be tragic. After their deaths is pretty tragic for the kingdom of Alexandria, isn't it? And the Egyptians. She was the last Egyptian queen.
Yeah.
And,
R.I.P.
their kids were paraded in the streets of Rome to just kind of like mug them off, basically.
Well, you know what? Octavia comes back into the story, right? Octavian kills Caesarion, obviously. Can't have him.
They would, can't be having two of Caesar's sons, one illegitimate and the other not actually his son. He's like, there's only space for one of us, mate.
But the twins and the youngest kid, Ptolemy, they're actually raised by Octavia. So they're taken to Rome, and like a year after they're taken to Rome, they have this parade, and they're like paraded in golden chains. Like, how fucked up is that? Like, literally, they're living at his sister's house, and then they're just like, oh, sorry, we've got to have this parade where we like treat you like you're captured kings and slaves. So could you just do that?
Wild.
Like, I don't know how they must feel about that.
Yeah,
that's dark. But and at the time as well, Rome had a bit of a Egyptomania. They start to build things out of marble and follow the fashion. So really, weirdly enough, like getting rid of Egypt or getting rid of like the kingdom of Egypt kind of brings it into Rome. It's like
they've set the trend. They've like, right, we can own this now. We can own this trend because we've got rid of the queen.
Yeah. And Octavian, guess what he does? He becomes emperor.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say throws a party? Question mark? Do you know what I mean? If they're taking on their traditions,
yeah,
and be like party. But yeah,
guess
emperor.
What he does? He dresses up as a blue man and goes.
I'm sure
like
he probably threw himself a party for becoming an emperor, though.
I'm sure he did. Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't shy about throwing himself parties.
Yeah.
But yeah, he becomes emperor for life. So the Roman Republic's gone as well. End of an era on both sides. But yeah, so that is the ridiculous, hedonistic, debaucherous party that is Mark Antony and Cleopatra. Was it love?
What a legendary story. And there's one thing that I read as well or saw on my TikTok, which I thought was quite just a good way to remember Cleopatra and kind of like the way in which I consider her such a boss bitch in this story. When she died, apparently she like engraved or something, no man will ever find my tomb. And I think still to this day, no one's ever found her tomb. But apparently the only person that's come close to it has been a woman. I don't really know how you would know that you've come close to it though without actually finding it. Do you know what I mean? That kind of baffled me. But yeah,
it sounds like a fake orgasm. Like you come close to it.
Yeah, came close to it. You can't get there. But yeah, no man will ever find my tomb. Cleopatra, it's absolute legend. And I don't think any of these guys would be as famous as they are had it not been for her.
No, exactly. And I don't know if it was love or a power play, but I think Cleopatra played a good game. She had game.
Yeah, she had game. She played it well. And I mean, goes down in the books as an absolute legend. 2,100 years later, still having podcasts and loads of stuff made about her. So Thank you, Cleopatra, for carving the way for queens to come.
So if you were to cast someone as Cleopatra in like a remake of the Elizabeth Taylor Cleopatra, who would you cast?
Oh, that is a really good question.
I think it would have to be Beyonce.
Ooh. Yeah, do you know, she's probably the closest to a modern day Cleopatra that we have.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I mean, I can't really think of anyone, like at the time, Elizabeth Taylor was such a famous beauty or whatever, can't think of anyone with that much charisma and because I think that's what it is about Cleopatra. She's just magnetic. She's not, it's not just like that she's beautiful. It's just that she just has this boss bitch energy and she's a chameleon like Beyonce. Yeah.
I mean, Barbara Streisand could definitely,
Oh, Barbara Streisand. I would love to say that.
But yeah, Beyonce in terms of like this day and age probably would be the one. Question is Jay-Z Mark Antony or Caesar?
I'm going to get into that debate.
Oh, and this Blanche drama. It's also relatable. It's so relatable. Oh my God.
So end of an era. Could they have avoided each other? Do you think they should have avoided each other? Do you think she should have done something else? I don't know what she could have done.
I think she played a good game. I think, she did the best with what she could have done. Ultimately, she did do a lot for the Egyptians at a point in her time and regained some territories that they wouldn't have had. But she was a woman in a very man's world up against some very power-hungry players.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. I want to thank whoever's listening, those two people, Mum. Cheers. Thank you for tuning into the Romance Files, and give us a cheeky little follow wherever you're listening, or on Instagram, the Romance Files Podcast, and send your love letters to the romancefilespodcast@gmail.com. Love ya. Bye.
Love ya. Bye.